jumping in.
If you had to bet, like it's the Black Olympics, what sport are you getting gold in? Is it spades? Is it dominoes? Is it
the Black Olympics?
What do you?
So anything competitive?
Anything competitive? Is it Uno? What are you getting gold in?
Does Monopoly count, or is that a white thing?
That was gonna be mine.
Oh, really?
I was thinking that Monopoly may be the one. Actually, I have another one. I just don't know if it's black.
Is it Taboo?
I love that game and I'm great at it, but is it black? Is Taboo black?
Is Taboo black? That's fair.
I guess we need to establish what's black, right?
Or do you just want to say what game or what competitive game is your
What
Olympic?
competitive? Yeah,
and it can be black.
And it can be black,
Can't
but
be black. Okay.
what if it's in the
Marvel Snap? No, I'm kidding. I'm not up there. Not there yet. I want to be though. I aspire to being the very best that no one ever was.
Is it Scrabble? Is it chess? Scrabble, to me that's like a black, but like my family grew up playing Scrabble.
Right.
So
like, but you had black educators, right? Like
Scrabble
different. It's black, and then like
and there's
the
uppity.
Pinkies up.
But there's like tiers of Scrabble where if you think you're good at Scrabble and then you play people that really play Scrabble and it's like, oh, all right, this isn't just a game I played. This isn't just a game that families play. Like people get really serious about Scrabble.
I'm like, how you got a word with 2 X's in it? Like, where did that come from? I don't even know because now I feel like I'm not that competitive.
Oh boy.
Phase 10. I'm probably like if there's something I'm competitive about, probably Phase 10.
If you had to put, all right, not even like if you were going for gold, if you had to put money on it, which is kind of almost worse when you think about it.
Can it be a video game?
Sure.
Okay, I have 2 then. I have like a video game and a card game.
Yeah.
So my video game would probably be Overwatch. Okay. That's the game. I get it. I feel like it's the only thing I'm actually really good at. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I'm good at that nobody plays anymore is a card game called Speed.
Oh, wow. That's because you with high schoolers.
No, I played it when I was in elementary school.
Really?
Yeah.
But you don't play it now with like your kids or whatever?
No, nobody really plays
like
it.
Fast arms?
I'm just really fast. Okay. Like my brain just works at its best.
Boy.
Yeah, I just like my response time is just impeccable with that game.
Dope.
She said impeccable.
Quite impeccable.
I respect that.
So yeah, those would be mine.
Ooh, now I feel like we need a video with us playing Speed. It's been a while, but
we don't have the frames for it.
That's the.
Greetings, BarFlyz.
Greetings and salutations.
Big Dan, Rodan. I'm coming to you live from the 215. I'm your comic book connoisseur. I'm your sommelier of sci-fi and superheroes, here to welcome you to the Blurred Bar. That's right. Mm-hmm. I'm that man that fits the description. I don't know what description that is, but please do. I'm never by myself, because if I was, you get videos that you've seen surface on the internet. So
and you'd love it.
Or not. But Cobb, how we feeling?
I am so good today. I'm Queen Cobb, also known as QC.
QC.
I didn't get my sounds.
Oh, you didn't get. Don't do it now. Don't interrupt.
Don't do it now. But after her sounds. We'll start over.
No, don't start all over. We'll continue. Because I am Queen Anti-Flex. I am the video game Ventress. Yeah. I'm the support character with boundaries. Mm-hmm. I am Sony's executive assistant.
Me.
With executive privileges, and I'm coming at you live as well.
Woo!
From the globe. We can give dances too. Because as queens, we share, we distribute.
Thank you.
I am not alone.
Never.
Who else we got?
We have a man who is hailing from the land of sake, shinobi, and samurai. The boy is Godzilla personified. There's no other name but this to go by. It's your boy, J-Hawk.
Great.
Same. What are we all sipping on right now?
Some mango juice.
Mango
And
juice.
some pineapple.
Sabor Latina.
Yes.
Are you sure that's what it is
Yes,
for the
it
viewers?
is.
Okay. We had to make sure we check that one.
Sabor
It's a Bacardi pineapple. That's
in
what I'm sipping on.
vivo.
I think you're sipping on the same thing, right?
Yes, pineapple.
And Cobb, to outclass us all, just straight up Bacardi.
I'm drinking Bacardi pineapple
Big over.
without the sugar,
Well,
without
That's a weird
without
flex.
the calories, even though I need them.
When you're
I
saying I don't.
guess.
I also have a guest.
Okay.
That's Kingler, aka Debbie.
Hmm.
She'll be joining us every once in a while to hold me
Alright.
accountable.
Debbie the King.
That's the thing that's gonna hold you accountable.
Yes,
Okay.
Debbie the
the
King.
sea roach.
Not your
allegedly.
other co-host.
The sea roach.
Allegedly, the sea roach is gonna hold me accountable.
The sea roach. All right. I want to ask how we've been, but I feel like we've already started. How are you?
I'm good. Spring break is coming up for the kids.
Spring
so therefore
break.
me, yes, I'm so excited to do nothing. I have a lot planned. Still planning stuff.
Which is crazy because you said you're not doing anything. You said to do nothing.
I'm gonna make plans to do nothing. Yeah, like there will be days where I do absolutely nothing and I'm not gonna feel bad about it.
Yes.
But there will also be days where I go out with friends, spend time with the dog. I'm gonna get the dog groomed.
Oh.
And I think I'm gonna do some great things. It'll go by fast, but I plan on having a lot done.
Sounds like fun.
It's fun.
What
Dan,
about
how are you?
Oh,
How are you doing?
I was trying to be nice and pass it around, but I'm all right. Yeah, I've been tired lately, but that's just, it is what it is. A lot of background work, just like what we do here and trying to figure out some new things.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we'll get into it. No, I'll wait for
Now
it.
I'm fired up for that.
I'm fired up.
Oh, it's going to be overwhelmingly disappointing.
Fuego.
Oh. I'm fired up for that.
In vivo.
It's whelmed, as the Titans would like to say.
Stay whelmed.
Yeah, stay whelmed, my friends. Jayhawk,
Josh.
how we feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm as of this recording, coming off of a weekend of celebrating the wife's birthday. There was a lot of things going on. It was a great weekend, weather-wise, to do so, besides Saturday. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of money. And that's just where I am.
It's funny you mentioned that because you said over the weekend we went to go buy bikes, which is weird because I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, but we went and bought bikes for them.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you bought bikes for like each other, like.
Oh no!
But you can still do that. Self-care.
Eventually,
I know
Big
those
Dan.
bikes are expensive.
I don't want to ever. I wouldn't want to be somebody else seeing Big Dan on a bike. I gotta lose weight first and then be on a bike.
You do not. I don't know who said that. Did
No,
the bike
I
say
know.
that?
I know.
You said it.
I'm saying it about me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm one of the clumsiest people I know.
Not more clumsy than me. I don't even know how to ride a bike.
Why are you trying to up?
Yep, I
One
got
up
you
me
top
on this.
there.
I
I
don't
am
think-
absolutely clumsy.
I know. I am. I'm very clumsy. I fall down the steps on a regular basis.
I never learned how to ride a bike.
Okay.
You can't win the self-deprecating contest. I promise you, you can't win that one.
I mean, I've had multiple bike accidents. I don't know what you want me to say.
First time I got on a bike, almost had a bike accident.
Have you ever been in a car accident?
I got hit by a car. Yep.
So have I.
In the rain. In North Philly.
Okay.
By
I got hit by a drunk driver.
Oh. I can beat that.
Okay.
The guy that hit me got out the car as I was laying in the middle of the street, and he said to me, "Did I hit you?" While I lay, looking at the sky. I'd rather get hit by a drunk driver, actually, over a guy that asked me if he hit me. So, and I had to answer him. I said, "Yeah, yeah, you hit me. You hit me."
I ruptured my meniscus trying to dance for white people.
I won't even try to beat that one.
Yeah.
But you got me on this one.
Got you on that one.
But you bought the baby some bikes.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know how we got to the other part, but we did. But we got back.
Good.
Anyway. I feel like there's no segue. But
what are we talking about,
what are we
guys?
talking about?
So today we are talking.
I'm not recovering. I'm sorry. I need
It's okay.
to move on.
It's okay. So earlier, me and Dan were going back and forth about self-deprecating behavior. So we're gonna do that again for y'all, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the Q. Spelled Q-U-E-U-E.
You got there.
Oh my gosh. So today we're talking about our backlogs. We're talking about words are hard to spell. I'm telling you, words are hard to spell, especially like without looking at anything, not having autocorrect. Words are hard to spell. All right.
Yeah.
But I got it right, so we don't need to re-record that at all.
No.
Today we're talking about the infamous backlog, right?
Our own individual ones.
We'll talk about backlogs as a whole, like generally speaking, but we can also, I'll have some questions for us where we can talk about our history with our own backlogs and what it looks like. So first, I think it would be helpful for us to maybe define a queue or backlog, right? For those of us that need explaining. So a backlog or a queue is sort of like a collection of media, activities,
Stuff you plan to get to.
stuff that we plan to get to that we haven't gotten to. Like, I plan on getting to that. I'm going to get to it.
It's like the laundry you haven't folded.
I can relate
Or
to that.
switched over to the dryer.
Right.
Yes.
It might still be in the dryer right now.
Or all those clothes that are, like, packed up on that one chair
Yeah.
in your house.
And they're like starting to form a person.
Yep.
So like in the middle of the night, you look up and you're like, oh. And then
Yep.
you're like, oh, no, it's just my clothes.
Yep. But coincidentally, you know exactly where everything is. You know exactly how to, like, move apart that pile to find the thing you need.
And as long as it passes the sniff test, it's good.
Yep. Until, like, things just start falling over just on its own, just by looking at it, that's when you got to address it.
You know, man,
So the queue and the backlog is pretty much like a watch list that you have curated. And it doesn't have to be a watch list. It could also be books that you were looking to read or something of that nature.
Games you want to play.
Yeah, the
a
games
to-do
you need to
list
play.
that seems to grow a lot, and the idea is that you're supposed to get to it one by one. But what I've been noticing is just like throughout the past few years, these to-do lists have gotten just so robust, so huge that it seems like it grows and grows and grows. When you watch one thing or play one thing or do one thing, then you have 5 other things to add to it. So I want us to talk a little bit about like the queue, how we navigate it, what it looks like for us, how do we prioritize, what we should be doing in this world of like media just being just thrown at us, like this hoarding of like content.
I think the challenge, though, for people uniquely in our position, right? Although this is something we've kind of put on ourselves, being content creators and podcasters, we've kind of made it our identity to watch stuff and review stuff, and people are waiting for our review on certain things, which expands that list even further, maybe even bloats it to the point where you're just kind of like, it's overwhelming. And I think it's really important to address the fact that we're still all working individuals, like 9 to 5s. There's no heir or ancestor paying into this for us to just sit home and consume media.
And Dan, like, you're kind of getting to the point that the question that I'm gonna have later for us about like the impact of the queue and just sort of like navigating it, and does it make us feel better? But first, I want to ask you is, what is your queue? What kind of media does your queue consist of?
Oh, all right. So I'm probably the least versed in anime.
Okay.
And by choice, just because
It sucks.
it's a lot of it, right? Or
It's
at
too
least to
much.
me, from my perspective, it looks like a lot.
It's too much.
And so I try to keep abreast on the really popular ones, like the top 5. And even then, I'm
Which
kind
are?
of like, huh?
Which are? What's number one?
What's number one? I don't have a ranking system per se because once again, I'm not the anime guy.
What name one?
My Hero, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Chainsaw Man. There's probably more, but I didn't rank any in no specific order. But for me, comic books rank very high on that that backlog. Surprisingly enough, as of I'm gonna say this recording, I'm caught up, and it took me 3 years.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years. What's crazy is I thought after my first daughter was born on paternity leave that I was going to catch up. And
you did
not.
You thought that was going to be a thing.
You raised such a great point.
I was like, all this downtime while I'm just watching a baby, I'm going to be like, comic book in one hand, baby in the other. No.
That's not how parenting works.
It's not.
So your queue consists of
comic
books books you're caught up.
Yeah.
You would say.
I just caught up.
So you're like current.
Current.
What else is in your queue? Like
video games.
Okay.
There's a lot on my list that I like single player games that I want to finish.
Yeah.
Elden Ring is one of them.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of other ones I want to play Horizon Dawn.
The first one?
The first one. I've yet to start it.
Oh.
Is that the one with the lady with the bow and arrow?
Yep.
I own it. Haven't started it. Yeah.
Okay. So you got some video games in there.
I got a bunch of video games. The problem is being a dad, I can only do like 10-minute rounds of something.
It requires a lot of like focused attention. A TV show, at least
I'm not
going to
spend 6 hours being frustrated at Elden Ring.
And you won't get anywhere in the 6 hours. That's the thing.
Yeah. I may or may not.
It doesn't help that games are so much longer either.
Yeah. So what do? I play a 10-minute match of Call of Duty and...
Oh. Yeah. We do what we can.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other piece of media that...
Oh, I got movies that I haven't seen. People were telling me, like, why haven't you watched Everything All at Once?
You haven't seen that?
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, my God.
And I own it. I have access to it. To watch, sit down and watch it. Nope. There's a whole bunch of other movies, but Ant-Man was the first MCU movie I haven't went to go see in theaters. It's crazy. But that's my log. That's my backlog. What about you guys?
Tell us about like what your queue is made up of. Like what kind of things to do.
My queue is made up of anime and books. And that is very hard because anime, a lot of the ones of note have multiple episodes and usually multiple seasons because there are also some that I have not fully completed, like Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
Right.
Same.
So that's a long ways to go. And then you have some that just always like interest me, like they pop up and I'm like, oh, that was interesting. Like Devilman Crybaby. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just things like that. Like I have a DVD set of Guyver, like the bio boosted armor. Which is like old like 90s anime.
You ain't never getting that.
But I heard that it's really good. So like I think I'm only missing like number 4 because this guy at a job that I used to work at, he had like 1 through I think it's like 12. But he was missing like the 4th one, and I was like, "Bro, you're missing." He was like, yeah, I don't know where it is." So Amazon has it, right? Yeah, Amazon has it, but I'm like, do I want to do it? I'm like, I might. But yeah, so anime. I actually have a list of anime on my iPad of like anime to watch. And then books. It's a mixture of. I've been trying to get more and more into like Black futurism, like Afrofuturism, and just Black authors in general. And then just stories that like tickle my fancy, and as well as more business related books or quote unquote like self-help books. And so I've been trying to do like business self-help, like something serious, and then it's like something fun, and like go back and forth with that, as well as watching anime. And then just shows in general that like pop up that maybe, that should really take a listen, that I should really take a look at, because now with there being so much black media, it's like we used to complain about it not being there, and now it's like here almost in droves, and it's like, oh no, this should be cool. I should like really get into this, like Snowfall or Nope or Swarm. Yeah, so stuff like that. That's usually what mine consists of, and then of course, because of the nature of the beast, MCU, DCEU, stuff like that. So
very good. Similarly, go ahead.
No, I was going to direct the question to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just
go ahead, direct.
What about you, Kyle? That's all I was going to do.
Yeah. So same thing. Like my queue is made up mostly. I think my longest queue, without even counting, would definitely be video games. Like definitely, there are so many video games I have. I game share with someone, so whenever they buy a game, we take turns buying like major games, and he already has a lot. So I have so many games that I need to play, like begin or finish. I'm not really good at finishing things, which I'll get to later. So my queue on video games is like, and it's really hard for me to focus on multiple video games at once. So I'll play one, and then I'll stop for whatever reason and start playing another one. So my video game queue is very, very long. Anime is very, very long. There are a lot of anime that I have not finished. I would say manga too, because I have this desire to read manga and just books. I have a lot of books that I get delivered to me every month.
Through what service?
It's called Haymarket. Haymarket Books. They deliver like books like books on activism and various types of like social issues, and it's like a fan club thing where they send you like 3 books a month.
That's cool.
And it's a lot. I have so many books, and it almost feels like hoarding, because it's like I never get to them. It feels like I'm like holding on to resources that someone else might use.
Do you have to send them back? I'm sorry, I'm really interested in this. So like you really pretty much purchase them.
So it's $30 a month, and then they send you 3 to 4 books that they choose from for the club, and you get it every month.
Oh,
in addition to like you can get them in ebook form too.
So
it's a lot.
I was about to say,
it's a lot. I have so many books. Some of them seem really interesting. I may read a couple pages at work because I have the time, but it's just my attention span. I think that's a part of what makes the queue so hard for me. I would say other things that fall in my queue is music, like a lot of albums that I should have listened to that I have not listened to. I would even put in the queue like people to hang out with. Right, like when we're talking about queue, we're not just talking about like media. We're also talking about like the to-do list, like the things that you have to do that you just haven't gotten to, that you say that you will. So like
that you want to do.
You should call your mom.
I should call my mom.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that I should be doing.
That's not true. I called my mom before the episode.
So that's
I just thought about it.
Write that off the to-do list. But
I'm still gonna call her tomorrow.
All right. So you're like you're like current with that. But like even just like hanging out with people, checking in on people, doing things, it's just like it's this thing where it's actively in my head. It's like I know I need to do it. I know I need to do it, but I just get to it either very slowly or it just gets buried by all the other things that I have to do. So my queue is incredibly long, and I think that's a reflection of some personality traits that I got, but also like the world that we live in makes it, at least I think that the world that we live in makes the queue so much more difficult to navigate and makes us feel bad about it. Like I think that like social media, our friends kind of make us, not directly but indirectly, make us feel bad about not keeping up with things. So even like we did it very like mildly, but you saying you didn't see everything everywhere, we're just like, you didn't see it yet, and that's the kind of stuff that like adds to our anxiety, where we have to add it higher to the list.
I have one specific friend who reaches out to me daily asking me if I saw it yet,
and it's like then that's like my next question is like, is navigating the queue, is it like enjoyable? Because it sounds kind of like we're being tortured by ourselves or the world to like consume at like their at like where they want, like at their rate, not at our own pace, right? Where it's like I should be like, somebody should say like, yo, you should watch the show, and it's like, all right, man, I'll check it out, and I check it out, and then I like it or I don't like it. But now we're at this point where I feel like it's like, you have to watch this. You have to watch it to be up with the conversation. And if you don't, what are you even doing? And then you feel bad about it, and you try to get to it, and then you either don't commit fully, or there's just something else that comes out, and it just feels like overwhelming to keep up with the queue. So what are your thoughts on like having things to do, watch, consume, play, whatever? That's supposed to be like a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But why does it feel so bad to not be caught up? Or does it not feel bad?
Depends, because as we were talking about this more and more, the queue for me evolved a bit. Like me and my wife have our own queue, right?
Okay.
Like stuff that we watch specifically together.
So you compartmentalize the queue.
Right.
Yeah.
Then then the Blurred Bar has its own queue. Like if you and I have all discussed like what we're going to watch and review, and BNR is coming back, but we're doing other stuff.
Another queue.
Another queue.
How many queues you got? If you compartmentalize them, how many would you say that you have?
I compartmentalize based on like time that I view available to myself, right? So like if my time is dedicated to it's me and my wife's time, we got a queue. We got whole seasons and shows that we have yet to really complete. And then even with my kids, it's like I'm building a queue for them because I'm like, I want to experience this with y'all. Yeah. So y'all can't watch this yet without me.
Oh my God.
So we went back, me and my 3-year-old.
He's projecting the queue.
The shame starts early.
The shame starts if you're going to do trauma, you do it well, right? So
your little girls can grow up like, I know the queue.
So right now, like we're going slowly getting through X-Men 92 with me and my 3-year-old.
That'll take
weird,
time.
right?
That'll take time.
Because she just doesn't have the attention span for it, but at the same time she wants to see it.
And y'all both don't have y'all both have things to do.
Yeah. So, and then just all of that is overwhelming at the same time. Like, I accept that it doesn't. Some of it's enjoyable, right? Like, I read comic books, and like I said, I'm currently caught up. So now, it feels I can slow down a bit, but I have agendas behind why I'm caught up. Like I have plans in the future of like, why am I reading comic books the way that I'm reading them?
We'll talk about that when we talk about like prioritizing the queue.
And then, video games, I'm losing that sense of urgency. One, because I'm an adult. Two, I'm an adult that like can't sit in front of my TV, my own personal console and stuff at copious amounts of time. So
you're an adult, huh?
I'm an adult with kids and a wife.
You do have kids and a wife.
So
that's something I do not have.
So I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
I took it as that, but you're right that you do have.
These are debuffs on my character sheet.
No.
As far as if I'm looking at it from being a RPG character in a video game,
that's not a debuff.
These are slowing me down from progress.
No.
All right, moving on.
Let's unpack that.
I love my family. That's not the point. I'm saying, due to stuff like that, I don't play like live service games anymore. Like a lot of game service or games as a service, because like they want weekly events.
Yep.
They want me to meet every achievement, and I'm just kind of like, well, I don't have time.
And then if you take a break and you come back a week later, it's like a different game.
Yeah.
It's like now you're behind. You can't play.
Everyone else got the crossbow that I couldn't get because I didn't get enough.
And you didn't play enough during the event.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like you get like not keeping up with things. It's almost like you're literally being left behind.
Yeah, and
it
feels
bad.
For it.
And you get penalized from it, either socially or literally from the game or the. Then you got to worry about spoilers. What do you do?
I play the same game.
What do you play, like The Sims or something?
Lego Star Wars or Lego Marvel Legos, just because I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what people are gonna say about me because I don't have a horse in this race anymore. As he pours. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I had to work through this issue. Thank you. And so to me, some of it's motivating because I have intention behind it, and then other stuff, I'm just kind of like, we'll get there when we get there.
I gotcha. I appreciate that. Josh, does navigating your queue, your personal queue, what does it feel like? Does it feel like a chore or like a job, or Is it an adventure? Like, what is
Adventures
what is
out
it like
there.
to navigate your queue? What does it feel like?
It feels actually it usually feels like a breath of fresh air when it's my
Really?
cue.
Well,
Because when he was talking about the different cues, it's like I think I have like 3.
okay, so you sort of, okay, gotcha.
So there's
So you have your own.
there's the cue, yeah, there's mine. There's the blurred bars. They kind of like they have a really nice Venn diagram of like that middle section.
Looks like a DNA strand.
Kind of almost.
Now, is your queue being fed by things from the external world, or is it just like, hey, I see this thing that looks interesting, I'm gonna add that, or is it being impacted by things outside of yourself?
Is that not one and the same?
No, because like for example, if you're like navigating Hulu and you see something that looks interesting, you add it to your list. That comes from you.
Sure.
Versus like maybe a bunch of people on Instagram are talking about this new show, or someone recommends you a show.
Yeah, nah. Very few times does my timeline affect my queue, whether that be Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is. Now people like I've heard of a couple shows that people are like, oh, like you should like watch this show, and I follow through with it, and they're usually good. You know, I can't think of one who has given me wrong information, but I will say if they did, I probably don't listen to them anymore. So like I curate constantly who gets to like
I don't trust you anymore.
Add stuff to my queue.
Nice job.
But yeah, no. My queue is it's pretty fun when I actually like get to it.
Yeah.
So like my hero, like this past season, like I was like 13 episodes behind, and then one Saturday, I had the time and like kind of like caught up, and then like I just watched the last episode, like just I think it was actually today or something like that. So
Me too.
So yeah,
it's crazy. I thought about that.
So, but it like getting through that was like, oh, like it reminds you why you enjoy it, or it reminds me why I enjoy it and why I enjoy these things. Same thing with books. Reading, what is it? Children of Blood and Bone.
Yes.
Like that reminded me of like, oh snap, like I really like enjoy these stories, like, and it's dope that it's like Black centered. And so now I'm really excited for the sequel, which I have to do after I read my serious book, right? So it's like there's a trade-off, but like I enjoy it, and it's just the thing of like I have this going into 2023, it was being disciplined, organized, navigating, execute, getting things done. And so I was just like,
don't look at me for that. That's his thing.
This was not rehearsed at all.
But
live.
It was one of those things where it's just like, if I can be disciplined to get my stuff done out of the way that I need to get done, whether that be editing videos or work or spending time with my wife, then I can like be very excited for when like I can get like the stuff that I like get to my queue, because I know there's no stress involved.
Your time.
Yeah.
Your time is important.
I like that.
It's just my time.
That's all I can say
it's
about
not
it.
important.
Your time is important.
It's just my time.
I didn't
But
take
yeah.
my time. Your time.
But yeah, no. I enjoy getting to my queue. I think it's kind of like that saying, you don't hate Mondays, you just hate your job.
Yes.
Right? Like I don't hate navigating my queue. I just hate the stuff that I have to get to actually like get
the hills
through
you gotta climb
to navigate it. Yeah.
Very interesting. That's inspiring, because it helps me sort of think about how I navigate my own. I would say that like my queue is like navigating it is like it feels really, really bad, because I think like I'm a procrastinator by nature. I'm someone that has a tough time finishing things in general. So maybe that's like the ADHD in me, or maybe
it's
it's
only
just
when it comes to the blurred bar that I feel that way.
Really? I'm that way across the board. Like across the board, I have a hard time finishing things. Commitment, I guess, is my issue. Or maybe just like fear and like the end of the line, I guess. I don't know. We explore things here. But my queue was like, it feels really bad to have such a long Q. It feels bad, like, because it feels like a job. It feels like it feels like another.
It's never gonna end.
It's never gonna end. People are always adding to it, and maybe that's why it feels bad. Is because a lot of it comes from the outside world, sort of like pressuring me into playing or watching or engaging in something. And I find that I feel the best when I like my cue is impacted by like myself, where it's just like I'm contributing to this. I see this thing that like maybe no one else has watched that looks good to me, and I'm gonna watch it. Or I'm playing a game that came out 15 years ago. Like I'm like playing Final Fantasy Type 0. And nobody cares about that game. That game came out in 13 or whatever. Nobody cares. But I'm playing it not to like finish as quick as possible, not to really talk about it, just because it feels good, and that's when it feels the best. But my fear is that I'll stop, like just like midway, and it'll still be like just this in this limbo. But I think that it feels best from the outside. Like I find like it's more valuable to watch things, engage with things when people that I value recommend it. Like if somebody says like, hey Alicia, you really, really, really need to see this show. I think you'd really like it. This is what it's about. I'm more likely to prioritize that. Because it not only is personalized because they thought about me, but you know, I want to sort of also like commit. You know, if a person asks me to watch something like personally, then I want to do that.
So
right?
you want to commit?
Yeah, I do. Like I didn't say I don't like to commit. I just say I have a tough time.
Fair.
So like if I like my coworker told me
It's
like
desire versus my actualization.
Yeah, for sure. My coworker a few weeks ago or months ago actually like recommended this show called Station 11, and he was like, you know, I think that you would really like it. He recommended it around the time that The Last of Us came out, and I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. You know, you're talking big on it. I value you as a person. I'll watch it, and I watched it, and I stuck with it, and it was really, really good.
Michael B. Jordan in that?
No,
who's in that? Station 11.
Nobody really.
I think you're thinking about Fruitvale Station.
You're thinking of Fruitvale.
What's the thing with the fire? It's a fire station.
Fahrenheit 451.
That's probably what I was thinking about.
No,
Station 11? Michael B. Jordan did. I think he did do that.
But Michael B. Jordan was not in
Station 11. Yeah.
Sorry.
But it was really, really good, and it felt really
it down
good
in my brain. I was like,
it's okay.
Him in that. I don't want to see it.
This is why we're here. We're here to work through these things. I don't know why he was in your brain, but you know,
it was a fear that
Disney.
I was like, you said Station 11. I was like, I'm gonna look it up later. But I was like, if he's in it, I don't.
He is absolutely not in it. It's a very obscure show, and it was really great. And I was really thankful for him to recommend that, even though there were so many games and shows and everything else I should have been doing. But I did that, and it felt really good. So I find it that like it feels better to like watch things that people personally recommend versus like watch the show on the internet. It's just like everybody's raving about this show, and it's like, oh man, there's anxiety that I have to like finish the show so I can keep up with the conversation, which is what makes it feel more like a job. You know?
But to that point, I think especially in our predicament, there comes a point where you just understand like, oh, I haven't seen Creed 3. Interesting thing about that is that people haven't really been talking about it, but something like an MCU film or a DCEU film, there comes a time where it's like, if you know you're not going to see it within that first week or so, it's like, all right, I'm probably just going to hang off of like Facebook and Instagram. I'm just going to not watch stuff because I don't need that additional pressure.
Yeah.
I prayed to the algorithm to not show me spoilers. I was just kind of like, whatever you need me to do,
that feels so
I'm gonna do it.
And the last thing I want to say is like, Dan, you mentioned something about like being caught up, right? And I'm thinking of like, it also feels good, and this was happening with like anime and like The Last of Us and things like that, is it feels so great to just kind of tune in when it airs. Like that feels like good, where it's like, this is like my routine. It becomes the queue becomes a part of the routine, because I thought that was maybe what it was supposed to be. It's like every Wednesday you watch Dawson's Creek. Every Thursday you watch Gilmore Girls. You watch your episode, and then it becomes a part of the routine, but it's at manageable levels where you can. But now it's at this point where it's like you really need to pick But it felt really good watching The Last of Us every Sunday. Just like it felt really good watching like House of Dragons and stuff like that. Like when it premiered, it felt really good because I was caught up.
Yeah.
And it was like something to look forward to.
Because streaming kind of like
I was about to say it.
changed the game where it was like you could binge it all in like a weekend when it dropped. But then they noticed that like, you know, they had those spikes of like everybody watching and like people going back to their lives.
And they make you feel bad because you didn't binge it. Like I didn't watch it in a day or a weekend and now I'm behind.
It's like you didn't watch 13 hours of something over the weekend.
Which is not normal, by the way. And it's like an overconsumption and you're being
don't tell
shamed.
Me what's not normal.
No, we all do it. There are some things there are some shows and video games that I've overconsumed, but I'm saying it seems like there's this shame attached to like not over consuming.
I think in the beginning, which was I would say 5 to 7 years ago, there was like a thing of like shame, like, oh my goodness, you didn't binge it, you didn't watch it, da da da. I think more and more people are having that issue of, look, man, like I got life,
I gotta live,
because like honestly, if you're talking about like our peer groups, like we're all millennials, we're all in that state of life where either
I ain't no millennial.
Yes, you are.
Are you you're not Gen Z, are you?
I'm Gen X.
Gen X is before us.
No, Gen X is after us. It's millennials and Gen X. That's not the point.
I thought
Gen
Gen Z
X
was after us.
Gen X is way before millennials.
Gen X is 80s, like
no, Gen X is like pre-80s, I think.
Pre-80s, 70s.
So then who are the boomers?
Mid-80s.
Boomers are like war people, like what, 60s?
Yeah. So our parents are Gen X.
Our parents are
all right.
Boomers.
Maybe.
Be that as it may, I don't think you're a Gen Z, but you could be. I could be wrong.
I'm definitely not Gen Z. I just told you I was Gen X.
She's millennial and she doesn't want to.
She just wanted to.
subscribe.
Okay, fine.
This is a trolling thing.
Yeah.
This is
Activated her trap card. Ah, Shadow Realm. But I think
Deathlock got played and you got dropped.
Right.
That's how.
I think because people our age are also dealing with life, it's just become a thing where it's like, hey, no, we haven't gotten to it yet, and that's okay. And I'm not gonna be.
But I think it's important, like you said, we come from an era where we're in the middle of a lot of this.
Yeah.
Like catching Heroes when it dropped every night was important. So we remember turning on the TV at a specific time to watch a specific show to make sure we caught it, because that's the only way you
and there may
it.
not be reruns until the end of the season.
Exactly. And, you know, like I remember for me, like religiously watching House on Tuesdays and like not missing an episode because I was like, I don't want to be the guy that doesn't watch this episode
because the DVD box set wasn't out yet.
Right. Right. Or I gotta wait till the season's over for to pay $80 to get these episodes again. And I think now with streaming, it's ready and available. And I remember going all in like during Daredevil. Making sure I watched them all in that weekend, so when I got to work on Monday, no one could spoil it for me.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
And
that's
now I'm kind of just like, hey, watch your mouth.
But that's the shame, right? Is like even the fear of like even wanting to catch up on things, even though yes, we're in a world now where it's like, yo, I gotta work, right? Yeah. I can't binge this in a day. I cannot. But there is a punishment to it because then you have to like intentionally take yourself off of social media to avoid spoilers. So in some ways you're still being punished for not keeping up because you have to change how you navigate your world because you didn't catch up on the show and somebody will spoil it either by accident or on purpose. And it's like, dang, I gotta stay off TikTok to avoid a spoiler, even though because I didn't binge the new season of You in one day. Like now I have to like change my whole algorithm around.
I feel like I don't know. I think it's just framing. I wouldn't find it as a punishment. I just know, like, oh, I'm just not gonna do it. So, like,
it's not,
you're better than me. You're like better.
It's just a framing exercise, where it's just like,
navigate the queue better.
I don't need that energy.
But I don't
in my
know
life.
if it's a navigation as much as it is like the reality, right? If there's 50 people who want to watch a show and only 20 of them watch it, but they know how to broadcast it to the internet really quick, there's still 30 people that will get to it eventually. And that's fine. And I've gone to work multiple times, and people are like, I haven't watched House of Dragons yet. All right, cool. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Sure. But I'm gonna be mad at you.
And then there's people out here who've been like, "Hey, that last scene in Mandalorian, fire, dog." And I'm like, don't talk to me yet. I haven't had a chance.
I was like, wait, what are you saying? Stop that. No.
Yeah. Like, you really about to do, like, you're about to commit a sin in front of me.
I mean, if you're around someone that will actively spoil something for you, then they are just not your friend.
Yeah, but it's people who, like,
trash
are just ready
people.
to talk about it.
But it's like-minded people who are in the same thing, and they're like, we want to talk about this. And I'm like, I get it.
Just go somewhere else.
I'll see you in 2 days when I get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, and I think another interesting thing is certain people just watch things differently. Like certain people actively choose like, I'm gonna wait till the whole thing is out and then I'll just like binge it.
Yep.
And then you have the other people who are like, oh, like we make sure like it's Sundays, it's House of Dragon Sundays.
Like football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much. I mean, why
It's
you?
football Sunday.
But
That's how House of Dragons
it
felt.
sounded real aggressive.
Yeah.
But no, because it's like, yo, some people,
at football fans.
I didn't come at
specifically.
football. I'm just saying
Okay.
that some people are like that with their shows,
Like,
right?
Some
Very
of our
true.
viewers like
Back in the day,
football.
I'm sure that they all do. But I'm saying, like, back in the day, a few years ago, 20 years ago, every Wednesday is Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
everybody be quiet, turn the lights off, I guess, and just keep watching Dawson's Creek.
I don't know.
It's
I can't
funny.
speak to that because it wasn't. me,
I miss days
but-
like that. It was It was a level of excitement and, like, having to wait either every day or every week for something new. And it kept the queue, it kept us caught up with the queue.
Sure, I
think you still do that. I think there's just so much. Like you might have like 2 shows on a Sunday. So
It's
you
like
gotta
somebody
make that.
putting a large piece of cake in front of you and saying, do what you want with it. You can either eat one slice and pace it out, or you can just eat the whole thing. So on one hand, it's like you have the option. Streaming has like created the option.
Maybe you didn't want cake, so you go back to the same pie that you like eating regular.
That's a part of the option.
Like that is probably one of my biggest challenges when people ask me if I've caught up on something. I will go back and rewatch old shows over and over again.
Like your comfort.
Like
show.
my comfort shows. Like I go
We all
back
have
and
our
watch
comfort
like the first 4 seasons of Bob's Burgers.
That's an episode
going
of
to
comfort
bed.
shows.
Yeah, comfort shows is a real thing for me. Like I'll go back and watch
Everybody has their
the
comfort
first few
shows.
seasons of like American Dad and start over again.
I don't know if I do.
You don't have
Robot
comfort
Chicken.
shows?
Like I'll go back and do those things.
That's an
just-
episode, y'all.
Yeah,
That's an episode.
All right.
and people. Yeah. Oh, you just shutting it down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I think that would make a great episode.
All right, cool. But,
What's your
yeah.
next question? Or
My
final
last question is, and we already kind of sort of talked about it, is how do you sort of prioritize the queue? How do you decide if you have an entire list of shows you need to watch? How do you decide which one you watch first? So for me, again, like I said, like I tend to prioritize quicker if it had been personally recommended. And sometimes it depends on who recommends it too. Like if it's someone that I really, really value or someone that I really, really want to talk to or engage with, then I'm more likely to watch the show. Or if it's something that just kind of like I have a personal interest in it, then that's probably the quickest, followed by a personal recommendation. And then I would say like what is third is like the internet. Like if the internet, if I see everybody on my timeline talking about a show, then I'm curious. I'm a bit too I'm a low key super impressionable. So if enough people say that this is like the best thing ever, then I'm gonna try to see, hey, is this the best thing ever?
That's
So
fair.
I kind of fall into that trap. How do y'all prioritize like your queue?
So if it's something I love, that's first, right? Like I'm sommelier of sci-fi and superheroes, right? Like that's my stuff. That's my thing. That's priority for me. Just as like if the Mandalorian is currently going on, I'm watching the Mandalorian. No matter when I do it, it's still at the top of my list. It's just the only other things that are priority over any of what I like to do is family, right? So beyond that, or
So what are you
family and
saying?
then work.
Are you saying that you don't like to do that?
No, I'm just saying family and work. Like I will put everything else on the back burner for family and work
Absolutely.
because I have to. But then when it's my time, me time,
And how much of your day is left?
oh, don't ask me about that.
Yeah,
That
some
was
question that had
disrespectful.
nothing to do with
Like
nothing.
out of 24 hours, how many after you've done your work, after you've done your family, how much time is left for Dan?
That depends on the day.
Just name one.
It
Your
depe-
best day.
You don't have to.
I don't have to. Right?
You're walking right into that trap card.
I have no weapon to him.
Nah.
I'm just asking.
Like, my wife will be very observant and recognize when I may need a little free time or me time. So, I don't know. It varies. So,
I wasn't asking that just to, like, dig into your life. I was saying, like, say if your you time was 3 hours, that could be just 3 episodes of a 1,000-episode series. One Piece.
I'm not watching One Piece.
I know nobody's watching One Piece. Why do they keep on making it? But my point is
somebody out here watching it. So I'm not gonna. We have BarFlyz who watch One Piece. I'm not doing that.
I'll fight all
But when it's important to me, that's how I look at it.
That's
right.
First.
But like a very close second behind that is the Blurred Bar stuff. Like, if I know we're going to talk about something, I'm not going to be the one sitting in front of this camera talking, faking the funk,
saying, "Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, me too."
I thought that was real good.
I thought that was really cool.
In full transparency, BarFlyz, I've done it before, and I'm sorry.
Don't tell us.
Because that's not genuine.
Don't tell us.
I've made it a personal goal of mine to not do that ever again. Like, I've done it before, and I won't do it again. No, don't cut that out. I'm being genuine. This is how you know that we're real people and we're not faking it out here. I think I've only done it once, but Josh can keep me honest on that one. He won't remember, so it's fine. I'm gonna say once that I did it. And then lastly, I'm not swayed by the internet as much.
Really?
One, because if it's the stuff that I love, the algorithms for whatever reason are aligned to me.
You're just gonna see stuff you love.
And so if it's something I love, I'm just gonna stay off the internet.
Oh.
I just will. Like, if I missed the House of Dragons episode or Last of Us or whatever, what you're not gonna do is spoil this for me.
Oh yes, I agree. No, I agree with that.
So, I don't really concern myself with that. But when the internet is like in droves talking about something.
No.
What was that thing? It was Bird something or
Bird? Oh, Bird Box.
Bird Box. Did not care.
I cared very much.
Had nothing to do with me. And
I cared very much about that.
I was like, y'all hype about nothing.
But the hypeness is exciting sometimes.
Sure, it wasn't for me. And
did you see Bird Box?
No, to this day, still haven't watched it because I don't care.
It was actually really good.
But I also heard, like, because I did not have a dog in that fight, I didn't form an opinion about it. And so I heard it was mid. I heard it was good. I heard it was trash.
The mid folks will always find their way. The folks that say stuff is mid will always find their way. When the majority like something, the mid folks are there.
Mid people are the loudest.
I can't stand them.
Sure, but sometimes they like help curve my.
That's literally their point. They only exist to.
My wife is a big factor in that too because she's just like, I'll wait till the buzz dies down before I like race to go listen or watch something, and I'm like, cool. I ain't gotta. There's no pressure in my house to go watch it.
Eliminating the pressure is like a very freeing thing.
I don't sweat it, but other than that, normally the internet's not going to curb my appeal to something. Really? Like, I already have my list of stuff that I'm like, I gotta go see. I gotta go watch. Ant-Man was one of those things where I probably took an L in because I was just like, I gotta go see, and then time just didn't happen.
Can I ask a controversial question?
Sure.
Doesn't sort of like being reviewers or podcasters or just content creators in general mean that we have to somewhat be open to or impacted by?
Absolutely not.
Where the internet is swaying?
Here's why, right? The Blurred Bar may not review everything you want to see. And
that's not what I said.
But I'm asking, but I'm answering it in the sense that we're probably not the only authority on it or reviewer on it that most blurreds or our BarFlyz listen to. So if they don't get it from us, they will get it from somewhere.
Sure. Sure.
And while we may give you our take on it, and it may be important to you about our take, the reality is that sometimes it does not happen.
Sure.
And you have to be at peace with it. Or you can be in the comments and trash us for it. But you don't, because you care about the fact that we're still people And that the reality is that sometimes we don't get to make everything.
So I think he answered very personally for the Blur Bar. I think, generally speaking, a lot of content creators do feel like they have to watch everything, and how do they navigate that? I don't know. They got to handle that on their own.
I mean, you'll usually like the content creators will select from, like, if you're a show about UFOs, then
sure,
just best believe that if there's big things in UFO news, then you'll probably be like
sure.
impacted by it.
There can be parameters set.
Sure.
But for us, with it being like, especially with us talking about, peek behind the curtain, widening the scope of it being like anime, games, black films, or black media in general, black books, like that's a big scope. And
sure.
So like that's why I think it's important to say, like, we may not review it first,
sure,
or even at all, but if we do review it, we are going to talk about it like in depth and like really like get into the nitty gritty of it.
Absolutely.
That being
quality versus quantity.
Yeah,
absolutely. I didn't say we had to be news reporters. I'm just saying that we definitely do at times respond, which is rightfully so, respond to or talk on things that are current, right? It's not going to be everything. There's no way. But I mean, if something big is happening in blurred news that is significant to us, then we'll talk about it.
Well, I also
if we choose to, right?
Well, yeah, I think the
well,
big
if they
thing.
buy 50 shirts, then I don't have to work and I can do this full time.
I think the biggest
but I'm not
thing.
putting that on them. That's not their responsibility.
I think the biggest thing is if it's if it catches our eye. Like, I think because of the space that we're in, things like the MCU, like when they drop something, it's like, oh, okay, like we should probably go see that. Honestly, I saw Ant-Man. It was half like a birthday present, half like it was the only thing out that week that I would have seen. But when I first heard that Ant-Man 3 was coming, it was just like, like, I don't need to see that. And it's like, all right, I definitely don't need to like pay to see it, right? Like, I can wait till Disney Plus comes.
But that's where we differ, right? Like, we have to all come together and agree,
right,
on what it is that we're going to put out there together,
right? Yeah.
Me, you don't care. Me,
what do you mean I don't care?
You don't care.
I don't care about what?
The MCU.
I do care about the MCU.
No, you care about the fact that fans are still spending money on it.
I care about the MCU. I'm not completely like indifferent.
We'll talk about that.
I'm not gonna activate that trap card. But to answer the last question, how I prioritize.
How do you prioritize it?
Honestly, it's what do I need to watch first.
Yeah.
And usually like the Blur Bar does it, because like me watching stuff with my wife is like we're going to watch these things, and like honestly, there are a lot of times where it's like, oh, like, I offer what if we're like planning something, like, would you like to watch Tenet? Because it's a cool movie and I also have to review it. And so
hope she activates my trap card.
Right.
So are you like blurring the cues at that point?
Yeah, you gotta work the pulpit. What? You better blur that cue. Because if you don't blend your cue, it can get
all about the misdirection.
It can get wild real quick. So yeah, no.
The only time when blurring the lines
blur it
would
when
be
possible.
Blurred lines. Oh,
blurred lines is a good thing in this context.
I was hoping.
Reached the end of the episode. But no, we have. But I think prioritizing it in that way, it's like, okay, what do I need to watch? So I can like honestly knock it out. And so that, if there are animes that I want to watch that I can therefore use for content later, sure, then let's do that. But like those are something where it's like it'll be me. The few things that I would like to watch are things that I know that I can watch without the perspective of like, I know I have to review this. And I think there are some movies that do take a hit of the enjoyment factor because, I'm going to be reviewing this whenever we talk about it. You know what I mean? And what does that mean, and how does that make me score stuff?
So the goal is to blur the lines, where it's like, yes, this is for a job, but also I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's really the goal, is to try to merge those
Mix
two
it.
worlds.
Yeah. What about you?
I said so first.
Yeah.
Oh, you did say so.
I said
first.
so first. Yeah, I started
You've been
with
here for
prioritize
so
stuff.
long. Yeah.
It's
She
so
never
I
left.
think what I've learned from all this is that navigating the queue is a job, but for some people it's a job that they love, and other people it is a job that they hate. And for some of us, it's just we're just with it. We're just doing it because we have to, or because it just has to be done. It is what it is. That's what it kind of sounds like to me.
I'd love to know the BarFlyz, how they navigate their queue.
Or what's on your queue? What's number one on your queue right now? That's what I want to know.
What's
Whether
number
that's
one in your queue?
watching something,
Reading something, playing
reading
something.
hanging out with someone, listening to something. Could be
That's
anything.
real. I've been doing
Navigating the queue of relationships.
that. Yo, like legit, I've been doing that a lot this year, and it's especially, I don't know, when you have a definite significant other, as well as friends that you would also like to hang out with, as well as a job, as well as a queue that you want to like it you know,
That's a lot of work.
the calendar fills up.
But I would say the relationship queue and being able to like not to make it seem like it's like a checkbox, but to like say, yo, I hung out with someone that I've been meaning to hang out with for a while, but I haven't had the opportunity to, and I did. That is fulfilling. That
Yeah,
feels
no,
really good.
it fills your tank. So
Because
like,
you know for sure that person y'all will not hang out for a minute because y'all got lives, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. That's
Yeah.
how it is.
Sometimes like, yo, I hung out with this person one time, and the next time I'll hang out with them is in 5 months, but we're good and we hung out.
If y'all want to stop by and watch me watch other people's watch babies, you know what I'm saying, y'all welcome to do so. We gonna watch Bluey, but we gonna at least be in the same room.
Exactly.
I'll make you a drink, but we watching Bluey.
And that's okay.
You had me at
that's okay.
You had me at Bluey and making me a drink.
Sure.
Bluey in a drink.
Well, quest items.
Quest item time.
I have here the Tome of the Queue.
Ooh.
When you open up the Tome of the Queue, it tells you exactly what it is that you're supposed to watch next, regardless
That's
of whether
helpful.
or not it's
I'd love
work
that.
or enjoyment or for a significant other or friends or life in general. It's going to tell you what's next.
Automate
So the
my
Tome of
queue.
the Queue.
Automate my queue, babe. Let me go.
It
and
sounds
automate.
just like a cell phone calendar, but
Sounds like
still a
Google
tome.
Calendar.
It sounds like Google Calendar.
I love
but
it.
it's
Sounds
Tome
like
of
the
Queue.
calendar
Just
app.
tell me what to do.
Listen, BarFlyz, the website is coming up. Look for it. TheBlurredBar.com.
If it's not up already.
If it's not up already.
Depending on when this drops.
When this drops, right? But it is being worked on. The store is going to be up. Limited time only. So when you see the merch, go after it because it's only going to be up there for a little limited time. I'm not going to tell you when it's getting taken down, but it is going to be taken down
Just buy
because
it.
that's the way it works.
Just buy it.
We got anything else?
That's it. We'll see you on the next one.
And like we always like to say here, y'all have a blessed night. Y'all have a blessed night. Y'all have a blessed night.